Do you want to just start? Do you want to get all the flattery out of the way here, Michael, and talk about your football career? Because it is pretty cool. You won what's the equivalent of the Heisman Trophy in Division III football. Is it in there somewhere?
Somewhere in the basement. I haven't seen it in a while. It's really a heavy trophy, but it's collecting dust somewhere at the house.
You should put it right in the middle of your desk. Like every time a football player walks in, and then they can see that, and they'll be like, "Wait, what? What is this?" And then you tell them, especially recruits, right? Put it wherever the recruits come in, right?
That might be a good recruiting pitch and tool. I might have to think about that.
So your playing days in college football, did we just decide we're going to throw to Zweifel every play? We got to get him the ball. What made you so good as a receiver? It's weird to ask a guy why he was so awesome, but like, we're going to have to do it. You're going to have to tell us.
I was fortunate to be able to play for 4 years, which helps, right? And not a lot of freshmen play, but I spent 2 years at UW-River Falls. I mean, the biggest, you had good quarterbacks, right? As a receiver, you can't make a lot of catches unless you have good quarterbacks.
These guys aren't listening to this, Michael, so you don't have to,
No,
it was the team and the offensive line. You could just be like, I was awesome, man. Like, I was faster, I was quicker. I'm like, what was it about you that made you so good?
yeah, I mean, honestly, that's what's helped me transition to defense. Was I love the game of football, just studying it. I was not fast. I'll tell you that. Rick. I was not a fast. I was quick. You talk about we talk about basketball. Like I love basketball, and so I was like a point guard, just like good like shiftiness, good twitch, quick in a small box, but not fast. And then you just build trust. You throw the ball your way, you got to make the catch. I mean, it's the biggest thing. But I loved to study the game of football. Football back then was a lot simpler than this now, like schematically. And so a lot of times the coverages were pretty vanilla, and I just knew how to find those open spaces and zones, and then be able to create space and man to man. It was kind of a recipe of the times. The football was not quite as, like I said, advanced as it is now schematically. So coverages were a lot more simple. In today's game, I would never have all those catches because today's game is a lot more complex and complicated defenses. And so it was a benefit of the time for sure.
Were you a psycho about route running and needing to have perfect, like, were you the Jerry Rice where you had to have perfect routes, stuff like that?
I bet you my teammates would tell you I was pretty psycho about that. Like, there's an art to it, and I love that. That's what I loved about football. Is like everyone thinks it's just the biggest, the fastest, the strongest. You run your head into guys, but like there's an art to it, and there's a science to it, and so I love that. I love the craft. And receivers just like creating space and finding space. That's what it is. And so I guess you could say I was a little bit of a psycho when it came to route running and the details and all that kind of stuff.
So when you're in the cafeteria at River Falls or Dubuque, are you, running routes, like getting by tables and getting by people in line, and you're just like there's Zweifel again. He's, you can see he's working on his routes even in the cafeteria.
I think everyone kind of does that a little bit. Yeah, you walk like through a doorway as a receiver and you like do a release on the doorway. Yeah, absolutely. I was doing that at the house, at the apartment, and whatnot. So I think everybody does that. O lineman they'll set on air, and D lineman will work on a pass rush move. So yeah, I was for sure like walking through a doorway, working on a release move.
So Zweifel led the nation at Dubuque, right? Like 1,915 yards and 140 catches. This is back in 2011. How did you guys do that season?
We won the conference down there. That was at the time was the IAC, the Iowa Conference. We won the league for the first time in 30 years, and so we made the playoffs that year. Kind of like what we're running to in La Crosse. We lost to North Central in the playoffs, so I got a long, deep history with the North Central beat my ass in the playoffs.
So the same team that beat you guys in the playoffs, like
this year, yep, in 23 and 21, yeah.
Yeah, so you went to the playoffs as UWL. You went to the playoffs the last 5 years, and North Central, which is the team that I think they either won or took second every one of those times. They have beaten you 3 times, and they also beat you that season when you had the.
They did, yeah. As a player, they beat me too.
Jeez, you can't run away from these guys. You're going to have to beat them at some point.
Yep, we will have to eventually.
But so you graduate from Dubuque, right? And we got to get into this too, right? Like your dad was the coach. No wonder you had the most catches ever. Your dad was the coach.
Every time. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So my dad's a longtime college football coach. Yeah, I transferred to Dubuque my last 2 years and to play for him.
So, I mean, how many times have you heard that joke? Like, no, yeah, you won the Heisman Trophy at D3 because your dad was a coach, right? Well, okay, you see, your dad's written 6 books about football. He's got these, I think he has 29 videos about the offensive schemes in football or something. I didn't read or watch any of those, but you maybe did you read all your dad's books and videos?
I read and watched a couple of those. Not all. I'm not going to lie. Not even close to all 35 combined, but maybe a small handful of 3 to 5.
Wait, does your dad know you didn't watch them all?
I'm sure he does, yeah.
Okay, because otherwise maybe he'll know this. Now he might be offended. Like, yeah, you didn't even watch all my. Like maybe you need to get by North
I
Central.
know.
Maybe
Maybe he won't be shy to tell me either.
yeah, I was just gonna say, like, what's that dynamic like? As you played for your dad, but then your dad's this Hall of Fame coach, and now you're a coach, and that makes total sense. But when your dad is the coach and you're playing for him, there's the thing is always that oh, he's all the parents are always a little bit harder on the kid. But now in a coaching, I've never thought about it in a coaching aspect, like. What's your dad like as a coach to a coach? You know what I mean? Like, is he giving you advice all the time, or does he step back and let you do your thing?
I ask for it. He kind of stays out of it and just supports and whatnot. Like I say, he was coaching until 2 years ago, so it really he was still had his own team. He was still at Dubuque until 2023. So it's really been the last 2 years. He retired, but doesn't really go out of his way to try to input and like that unless I ask. But he's kind of an old school, pretty hard nosed coach. So yeah, it's good. It's just good to have him as a sounding board. He tells me that if we don't win a national championship every year, it's been a failure. So we grew up in Whitewater, and he's like, La Crosse has everything. He has the best city, the best school, and so he's like, you guys should win the national championship every year. So he's got those type of like, oh, so it's kind of funny to talk to him.